And then I'll show you the surprise muffler if it works. If not, I'm not even going to show it. Maybe, we'll see. What's up guys, Manny from Motomillion, and here we have our beautiful R1M. As you saw in the last video, we did take this bike on the dyno and broke it in. And it's kind of hard to miss these two boxes here. You can tell what we're going to do. We're going to be installing the Akrapovic World Superbike exhaust, as I mentioned before. As far as the noise goes, on the dyno video, we were kind of surprised too how beautiful the bike sounded. After all, Yamaha does make musical instruments, and we could tell this is also one of them, especially with this exhaust that we're going to install on it. But yeah, with all the restrictions and everything these bikes have nowadays, we were all shocked on how good it sounded. And if you haven't watched the dyno video, jump on it, you could hear it. And you can see how we broke this bike in. Getting back to the exhaust system, we have two boxes because this is the World Superbike exhaust, this is the Evolution titanium exhaust. I wanted to have them together so that I could show you the differences, because obviously I haven't seen the World Superbike exhaust before we got our hands on it for another bike that we have, and that you'll probably see some videos of. And even seeing them side by side, if you take a picture of it, it's kind of hard to tell the differences. So I want to give you as much information as I can to show you the differences and why we chose the World Superbike exhaust, not just because it's World Superbike. So let's get to it. Let's start taking this bike apart, and soon we're going to make some noise. So this is the World Superbike exhaust. This is the biggest thing in the box, which is a big long can. This is actually an extremely big can. So this is the collector for the header pipes. And right away, just have seen them before, I could tell you guys that the diameter of these, all the collector inlets and the outlet, is quite a bit different. This is all our hardware. We'll open this up. There's some really cool things that I want to show you with the hardware, especially on the flanges. And this is our header pipes. One thing I want to show you is if you take a look, the header pipe starts small and immediately it does step into a larger piping. So that's one difference that I could tell you from now by not having them both side by side. And the other thing is, I don't know if this is for homologation purposes, but they do have some etched serial numbers on there, because there is a lot of scrutiny with the racing series and everything. And I bet you they have to homologate these exhaust systems to be able to run them. And let me open up the consumer version, let's call it, the Evolution, which is a top of the line model by Akrapovic for these bikes. This will be very similar in the looks of it for you. But again, so here's the muffler. This muffler, as you see, it doesn't stick out all the way there. I'm going to show it to you after, but already look, the box is even a little smaller. I'm not going to open up the hardware of this, but so this is the header and collector. It comes as one piece from the factory. I want to thank Akrapovic for supplying our table of the day. So if you take a look, this Evolution model, of course, obviously it does come out and bubbles up a little and it goes thinner again. And this is also what's different with Akrapovic exhaust systems, that you'll see this, that it's not all the same size. It'll get smaller and bigger as the pipe goes throughout. And you could tell over here, you see this is like an egg shape and it gets smaller down here. This is all the fine tuning that they do, and they do a lot of R&D, which sets them apart from most other manufacturers. And if I were to put this side by side, you can tell, number one, it's missing the bend, because they want to put as little bends as possible. But just by looking at the size of these, it's different. And let's do this. Let me grab my vernier calipers so that we do some measurements. So the flanges, these are around 37 millimeters in diameter. And when it gets bigger, at the biggest point, it is around 44, almost 45. It's 44.9. And let's take a look at this. Let's start in the second runner. So this is 39. Yeah, this is almost 40. Let's try to get it. Yeah, it's almost a 40. So, and then where it gets bigger, this goes up to a 49 millimeter diameter, 48.4 to be exact. let's see at the place where it meets the collector. Let's see if there's any difference. Right where it meets the collector, it's a 45.04, so we'll just call it 45. And this is at 47.6, so almost 48. So these were the pipes and the differences between the diameters of the Evolution, but I'm going to show you something really cool, and it's in the hardware pack. It's I've known about it, I've just never had a vehicle that I've used it on. And we could say the Motomillion R1M is the lucky one that gets to use these pieces. So these are your springs. This exhaust actually, since it's longer, it mounts up instead of the rear passenger foot peg. This will give you an idea of how long this is because the Evolution still uses this mount over here. And this is the party piece. And I'm a sucker for stuff like this because you don't see this often, even in racing applications, but these are really cool. So we have, with our flanges, we have some spacers, or I would still call these flanges for the lack of a better word. And just take a look at these. These start off as oval, if you could tell. It's kind of hard to miss it. And they'll turn into a round shape. And this will go on with the flange. So if I press this in, this is how it will install on the motorcycle. So if you take a look, so this is going to face up. And obviously the flange is going to go in the back of this to get this on the head of the bike. You're probably wondering why have they done this? And isn't that type of a restriction on the exhaust gases? This is technology that actually came from Formula One. The main thing that this is doing is, number one, it's taking the flow properties of the exhaust gases and giving it the speed that it needs. I guess it's speeding up the exhaust flow, because imagine if you take a hose and you squeeze the hose, the water rushes out faster if rather than the hose being just as you left it. But other than that, this is also tuned to get rid of the resonance that the exhaust makes. And that comes in handy when you're racing in terms of some long races that these guys do with endurance series. Believe it or not, the resonance of the exhaust can crack the block or the head of the bike. And this here also gets rid of those unwanted resonances that might crack your block. This has been Formula One technology for a long time, and I was surprised to see that they use it on these bikes, but it makes total sense. Obviously, we're going to put the bike back together. We're going to install the on a later episode, not today, because I don't think we're going to have much time for it, because we want to get everything done right and take our time with this. But we're going to be putting the velocity stacks off a World Superbike as well, and put a high flow race filter. We're going to have to tune it with Brent Tuning's flash. Because this exhaust does not use any of the O2 sensors anymore, so we're going to delete the O2 sensors. And Brendan was nice enough from Brent Tuning to supply us the flash that was required to run the mapping for this exhaust. Then we're going to take it on the dyno to see what the numbers are. But enough talking, let's get to it. Let's take this bike apart. I'm going to have Michael Knight. He's not only fast on bikes, but he's fast on doing everything. This guy can't sit still.
Not everything. Not everything for the ladies watching.
Is, you know, from 650 Eve's videos to come and give me a hand with the exhaust installation, and let's see how far we get. And look at this, factory carbon fiber.
It's pretty light actually.
Kind of sturdy too. It doesn't move around. We're going to keep all these parts and we're going to measure them for you guys. This is so tight.
How far you can throw it. You want to try?
No. Let's keep it just in case. They're gonna get PETA on us. You know, this is the cat. They're gonna think we're doing cruelty to animals. What I'm doing right now is we're putting cardboard on both sides of the oil cooler so that we don't damage the fins. I have a swivel here, so if you want it. Holy cow, this thing is titanium, but man, this is not light. So if you guys take a look at the exhaust flanges, you'll see the exhaust flanges have a very similar shape to the cylinder head, and with the World Superbike exhaust, it is matched to these ports over here. So we could call that port matched exhaust flanges at this point. So now that we have our stock exhaust off, let's measure how much this thing weighs. And we're gonna do a balancing act. The scale was zeroed. There you go, 26.2 pounds. Maybe we'll make it 0.3 with this, let's see. We did, so 26.3 pounds, 4.4 for the stock exhaust. And if you're looking for a stock R1M exhaust or R1 exhaust for whatever you want to do with it, if you're rebuilding a bike, let us know. We'll happily talk about getting this out to you. This is going to be another act of balancing. Yeah, so these are the header flanges. I'm just going to keep them in the bag for the sake of being able to just put everything here. Let's open this up so you guys can see what this looks like. This is pretty big. This is a circus act by itself. So there you go, 10.6 pounds. So that's 15.7 pounds of weight savings. But let's get back to installing this. I'm pretty excited. And then I'll show you the surprise muffler if it works. If not, I'm not even gonna show it. Maybe, we'll see. So I'm gonna do an initial wipe down with WD-40 just to the parts that we might not be able to get our hands in. And what this does is it gets rid of some of the residue that we put on there with our hands and anyone who was packing this. And also what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some anti-seize, because when you're mating two different materials like aluminum, which those flanges are, and the titanium, it's a good idea to put some anti-seize on there just so that they don't fuse together. Worth a couple $1 million. This is art right here. Let's just send this to Art Basel. I don't know if you guys seen that. There's one of the biggest, well, it is the biggest event in Miami. It's one of the big art events in the world. It's called Art Basel. It's every year. It's held in the fall in Miami. And they sold an artwork for some ridiculous amount of money. I forgot how much it was. Whatever it was way too much. It literally was a piece of banana, or a banana, not even a piece, a banana stuck onto a canvas with duct tape.
It wasn't on the canvas.
Wasn't?
On the drywall.
Oh, on the drywall. There we go.
On the drywall. 200 something.
See, that's
They say like the artist comes by to replace the banana.
Yep. Like third day of the exhibition, he came to replace the banana because it got rotten.
We'll stick to spending ridiculous amounts of money on motorcycles for now, right?
That's called tax relief.
The exhaust is on, and this is the little surprise piece that we talked about. That is an Akrapovic muffler off another application that we just fitted on here. You don't have to use the springs on it because we have a clamp, and the collector is bolted directly over here. So we're just test fitting it because obviously this has been turned and tilted, and we have to shave some brackets off of it to make it fit. This is just a test piece. We just want to see how well it works on the bike as it is. But now let me bring this thing down. We're gonna do the first start. First start with the World Superbike exhaust. Here we go. Alright, sounds great. It might be too much. I'm not revving it too high because it's not fully warm yet, so we're going to let it warm up a little more. That's 4,000 RPM. that's only 6,000 RPM. Yeah, the fans kicked in, I can rev it now. Oh my God, my ears are hurting.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. A little loud, but maybe because we're right beside a wall and stuff. So it sounds really different though from other exhausts, because I don't know if the microphone's picking it up. It almost, you could hear every single cylinder fire, even when it's at idle. I don't know if it's got something to do with those flanges that we installed that you guys saw.
Flames were like 6 foot,
Really?
like up to there. Yeah, bro. Wait for the flybys.
Yeah. So guys, here is the WSBK exhaust with a little twist that we mentioned. This is a little too loud and rowdy for my liking, and we're going to go ahead with I think just using a full WSBK system. Let me quickly show you. The muffler of the WSBK is this one. As I mentioned, this will mount to the rear passenger foot peg area. We're going to use the carbon hanger that's provided. It's kind of deceiving because I thought this was much longer than the Evolution one. And when you put them side by side, they're pretty similar. If I put them like this, you could tell that it's just tiny little bit. It's not even an inch shorter. And this runner is probably the length that it is for a reason. So for the sake of having the full WSBK exhaust that we have, and most likely for the sake of power gains that this will offer to us, I'm just gonna go ahead and go with this. So we're gonna put the full WSBK system. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that we should have kept the other one on there? You know, I know that everyone has different tastes, but for me, it's way too loud. So here's the World Superbike exhaust with the DB killers on. It's gonna smoke again because we put WD-40 on everything all over. Let's try this. So that's what DB killer is on. I'm gonna remove that DB killer and let's see how it sounds. That's really quiet. There we go. We have our DB killer. It's still pretty hot, and someone signed it for us.
What does that say?
I don't know. It says 21103 OP. I guess again, these might be the homologation things. This is the World Superbike exhaust with no DB killer. Let's give it a shot. We'll let it warm up a little more so that I can rev it a little higher for you guys. By no means this is quiet now. The DB killer really does the trick with restricting the sound of it. And some of you are wondering, it's a World Superbike exhaust, you know, why is it so long and why was it so quiet with the DB killer? in World Superbike series, you actually have to test at 115 decibels after the race and not before the race. And don't forget, we just put this on this bike. The packing is going to start wearing out and burning off as we use the bike. So this is going to get louder even as it goes by. For me, this is the best because, again, it sounds great, and you know, the fact that it's actually a World Superbike exhaust, you know, it has to mean something in terms of the performance of the bike. I think it sounds absolutely fantastic. And let me know, you know, you guys like that rowdy shouty little slip-on thing that we had on here, that we use it as a part of the full system. Is that the one that you'd go with? I don't know how it sounded on camera, but over here, I think it was way too much. So leave your preference down in the comments below. And I think next time on the series, you're gonna see that we're gonna be doing the World Superbike velocity stacks with the race air filter. After that, I think it's time for that Brent tuning flash to go on here to help us get everything right. And we'll go back on the dyno when we can get back on the dyno to get those readings. Until next time, guys, have a great one.